When you think of archaeology in Israel, you tend to think of Jerusalem or Caesarea, structures of Jewish or Roman heritage. Many forget the region is also home to many Islamic sites. One of them, on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, is now the focus of a joint German and Israeli project to preserve what's left of it. Mira Savir went to the site to find out more.
Jaffa, located just off the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee, was once the palace of a caliphate, but now barely has any walls. Archaeologists believe it was built at the beginning of the 8th century.
In the 1930s, the Germans, they found an inscription at the gate, and this inscription says this building was built by the commander of the faithful, Al-Walid.
Jaffa was excavated in the 1930s by a German team. The site itself is on the property of the German Association of the Holy Land. Now in 2015, they're starting a new effort to preserve it, a joint project between Germany and the Israeli Nature and Parks Authority.
There's a very long history of German commitment to the site. There's a responsibility because the German excavators left the site in 1939. It's a good custom. The person who excavates a site has also to take care about the preservation after the excavation ends.
Because of budget constraints, they couldn't preserve the entire palace at this moment. So what they decided to do is focus on this structure around me, which is the gateway to the palace itself.
First of all, we want to prevent water from getting into the structure, so there won't be any future damage. After that, we want to take care of the design and preservation of the stones themselves.
The project will begin in November and should take 3 weeks to a month, and Orlin says they hope to continue doing more work on the site.
After, the sky's the limit.
Dr. Katya Citrin was part of a Hebrew University team that excavated the site in 2005. She gave us a tour of what was once the Great Palace.
When we visit such sites, we need lots of imagination. Within this wall, we can see the prayer niche, what's called mihrab. And what's interesting here in Minya, this is one of the places that were most affected in terms of visually saying. You can see here the results of the earthquake best.
It is believed several earthquakes shook the palace, but Citrin says one in 1033 ultimately destroyed it. Minya served a purpose even after the Umayyad period.
This is a furnace that belonged to a stage of Khirbat al-Minya when this was actually a sugar production factory. This started during the Crusader period, and actually we can say that Minya was part of this industrial revolution.
In the 1930s, the Germans excavated the private unit, an area Citrin says is quite special.
This whole area was covered with geometric mosaics, each one different with a different composition. They're here. They are actually here under us.
Islamic archaeology isn't one that is often studied or visited, but Citrin says in recent years it has become a more popular time period to study. And for visitors, it's important to remember it is part of the history.
The public should understand that this is part of the cultural heritage of Israel, and they should care for it. And they should also demand more explanations and more knowledge about each of these sites.
Citrin says she hopes they can come back to Jaffa, not only to preserve it, but to continue excavating to see what else they may find.